Please turn to page 37 of your PMBOK. We are now going to look at the environment in which projects operate. Projects exist and operate in environments that may have an influence on them, as you can see in the PMBOK. We want you to understand that influences can be favorable or unfavorable, and there are two main categories of influences, those being EEFs, or Enterprise Environmental Factors, and OPAs, or Organizational Process Assets. We will be learning more about both of these categories in a moment. Please turn to PMBOK page 38. Enterprise Environmental Factors, or EEFs, are similar to Organizational Process Assets in that they provide context within which to plan the project. However, EEFs are generally outside the control of the project team. Enterprise environmental factors external to the organization can include governmental or other rules and regulations that apply to the performing organization. Internal enterprise environmental factors include the structure, culture, systems, and geographic locations of the organization. Resource-related EEFs include the technology and resources available for assignment to projects, such as documentation of the skills and abilities of internal and pre-approved external resources which are available through approved agreements. EEFs related to project management may include a resource management system, a procurement system, and a quality management system. When answering questions on the exam, assume that the impacts and limitations imposed by EEFs are taken into consideration during planning and as the work is carried out. EEFs are inputs to many planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling processes. The project may suggest improvements to the EEFs, particularly in the area of resource management. Please turn to page 39 in your PMBOK, Organizational Process Assets, or OPAs. Most organizations maintain two types of OPAs: processes, procedures, and policies, and organizational knowledge repositories. Over time, organizations develop or adopt processes, procedures, and policies for projects. Collectively, these processes, procedures, and policies are referred to as OPAs, and they apply to aspects of the project such as quality, procurement, and resource management, as well as change control, safety, compliance, and more. Projects may recommend changes or ways to increase the efficiency of these processes and procedures, but they are generally owned by the project management office or other departments responsible for organizational governance. The other type of organizational process asset is organizational knowledge repositories, which include information on many facets of projects. Historical knowledge bases are maintained and updated by every project and made accessible to the rest of the organization as part of the historical information repository. It can be used to plan and manage future projects, thereby improving the process of project management and avoiding challenges experienced by past projects. Historical information can include activities, work breakdown structure, benchmarks, reports, risks and risk response plans, estimates, resources used, project management plans, project documents, baselines, and correspondence. Another part of historical information is lessons learned. We will discuss lessons learned in more detail in the integration management knowledge area. For now, you need to know that lessons learned, which are created throughout projects, document what went right, what went wrong, and what the team would do differently if they had the opportunity to start the project all over again. The Lessons Learned register from each project becomes a part of the Lessons Learned repository after project closure. Other OPAs for organizational knowledge repositories include configuration management, including file structure, file naming conventions, baselines of organizational standards, and templates of project documents. Financial data, including budgets and actual costs of completed projects. Issue logs and documentation regarding defects on projects. Metrics that may be useful for other projects. Project management plans and baselines, as well as project documents such as network diagrams, risk registers, and stakeholder registers. When answering questions on the exam, assume the organization has information such as historical records and lessons learned from previous projects, and that the company has incorporated these records into an indexed organizational knowledge repository available to all. As you can see, we have created a table for you to compare the differences between EEFs and OPAs. Don't worry, these are inputs to many processes, and we will be looking closely at each of the EEFs and OPAs listed in the PMBOK. You will notice that each process will list the inputs, and the inputs, including the EEFs and OPAs, will include some examples within the PMBOK.